is a philosophy. It's a philosophy which is a growing philosophy. It's organic, it's fluid, and one thing that we are figuring out over these years is that it refuses to fall within any prescribed structures
and
or notions. But at the same time, we are also at the same time constantly struggling with baggages.
And also we also have this struggle or a conflict or with the baggages, and to find out what is Lakshmi universe. We also looking or looking to, or we are trying to understand what is Lakshmi universe, because I think it's also very interesting that practice or interesting part of Lakshmi universe is it's not fixed idea, fixed philosophy. It's constantly changing. What do you feel like?
And I think it is also partly, majorly is a continuation of how we kind of took radical actions in our own previous practices. I'm an anthropologist, and some of the biggest conflicts in the head has always been about narratives, meanings, or the ideas or the theories you are part of or engage with, and it felt stagnant. The stagnancy of an academic inquisition of a meaning was constantly a driving conflict in my head. So there was a subconscious desire to create a space or work towards a philosophy in methodologies which I or you we
not
practiced before, but then we still don't know what to do, how to do, but then there's a quest. There's a quest to relook at things.
I think it's the same thing for me also, for my art practice, because it's been a very part of a system.
Absolutely.
A larger system or a smaller system, whatever it is part of a system. And your practice, how much ever you break away or try to do a kind of a new engagement in your practice, new ways of your practice, still you are part of that same art system you're in. And it's like how you said the same thing. It was a conflict. It was trying to, but it's not a very conscious also in a way, because you're not like forcefully making it, no, I want to get out. No, it's like, I like that because it's so organic, and without your knowledge things happen. But now we can re-look at that and say that okay, this may be the reason for where Lakshmi universe emerged.
And I think there's also a very kind of with something which we don't talk about it, consciously. It's like, I think we want to ask very impossible questions. And impossible questions, when you ask, it has a radical nature in it. And in that, when a question we ask or we are curious about, or the conflict, intellectual conflict we address, it does not mean that a system of order is prescribed or established. It's about existence. Your radical question is your own existence with your own past.
And also it's with like now we have goats. Okay, and but we are not goat farmers. We grow plants, but we are not farmers. But the methodology, what a farmer do, what a goat farmer do, we might use that. But then we always say that goats or non-humans in the land is so important for us to have an intellectual stimulation. That shift itself, I feel it's quite interesting.
It is because from my personal, my individualistic, previous practice, I was always interested with a theoretical notion of the human, non-human. But that always had an academic baggage. So we're talking about an entanglement of a human and a non-human, and it is an academic discourse. It does not make this. It does not give meaning to my existence as a human. Yes, you did formulate an intellectually stimulating discourse of true academia, but it does not give a meaning of that particular theory of human, non-human. Lakshminivas is trying to kind of break away from that structure, either academia or artistic. It's trying to break away. And while it is trying to break away, I think we are borrowing existing structures, like domestication. We are borrowing the problematic nature of these structures, like domestication. We did recopy or redo a lot of things, like how banana has to be planted in a particular way, how areca nut has to be planted, the idea of a cash crop, the idea of food for the human. That was the biggest revelation for us. We always thought food for the human. Another important, I think, the aspect of Lakshminivas is that, you know, it's also naive in its, you know, it's also very naive in its inquisitions. I think we ask questions like a child. You know, like we feel that the question how to think like a forest is almost childlike. You know, yesterday Shibu was talking about a story. You know, he was talking about a story where a child goes to a village and the father asks, what do you see in a village? He says, I see water, I see the soil, I see the sky, I see goats, I see cows. So that is quintessentially like thinking like a forest.
Right, exactly.
But then, but the father does not want that answer. He wants to know that, did you see food crisis? Did you see lack of roads? Did you see schools? Did you see hospitals? So our questions in a way are not of the father, even though at one point it was. But then I think it's time we think of how a child thinks, or a child when it's trying to look at things. You know, when you ask a question like, you know, how would you define your relationship with nature? It's got so many conflicting things in your perception. You grew up as a child where you are taught through coloring books, you know, comics, storybooks to tell this is tree, this is goat, this is cow. The very alphabets come with A for apple and, you know, one note C for cow and all that kind of a thing. That is a very interesting way of formulating a perception of nature. Right, but then there's also duality in that. You know, you are also the nature, because you are an organic body which is just like mulch one day in your life. You're going to be mulch one day. You're nothing. You're nothing more than that. You're just one creature, right? But this is something you realize much later. Where of the perception, the politics of seeing. You know how John Berger keeps talking about the seeing of the landscape. You know.
No, I think it's also when you look. I think for that this stage to happen, because it's historically there is a human species started disconnecting with nature.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yeah, and that disconnect,
and that started that gap become more and more, and then you force yourself to connect with nature. The representation become the nature than you being part of the one.
The representation is that it is a romantic picture. It is a romance. You know, but then we've forgotten that we are just a creature living in that same landscape, in that same quote unquote nature. Right. Now when one thinks like that, it is a very complex relation. Because if we do not have the structure of how it is today, let's say we are just another foraging creature on the landscape, it's a tough battle. It's a fight for survival. Clans, structures will completely organize themselves very differently. But no, it doesn't. It's not not like that. But then when there is but when you have that thought and you have, and if we live like that at all, maybe our perception of the very chicken we domesticate and have built a story will be very different. You know, our strategies will be different. You know, the constant fight for food will be different. You know, it's a constant survival, and when that entangling element of food in the landscape is, I think, we could call the politics of this nature. And that's how
That,
we're together because of that food.
Yeah, and
Now we are eating tomato from a market.
I think that, yeah, that's true, because that also come with the issue of farming.
Yes.
You know, the moment human figured out farming, that's when everything changed.
Yes.
Because you're not moving, you're in one place and you start growing things.
Yes.
Which is unnaturally growing.
Yes.
Like you grow a grain for larger area.
Yes.
And naturally it's not like that.
Yes.
You know, scattered, it's
Exactly.
grows and suddenly it's become like that. Then what happened? The whole biodiversity changed and there was a new biodiversity started coming around these farming farmlands, farming areas.
Exactly.
And that's become a very problematic in the human species.
Exactly.
That disturbed nature.
Yes.
Through human, I feel.
Yes.
You know, it's a, and now we can't go back. There is no way. There is nothing we can do with that. But only what we can do. I mean, we don't know what we can do actually. You know,
I mean, there is no prescription.
We can, we just only analyzing, or you know, you are reflecting upon what happened with assumption. It is not true. It can be not totally wrong. You know,
absolutely,
you know, but then it's also intellectually our concern is something like this, and then how we look at farming differently. That's the reason we don't call ourselves farmers.
No.
You know, because we are not farmers.
No.
We grow plants, or sometimes plants grow by themselves.
Most of the time it's
that's
growing
how it
by
is.
themselves.
Like our China molaga, which is just 2-3 we planted when we came here. Now we have many China molaga, that is birds are taken away and put the seeds and it's just growing all over the land.
Exactly.
And like that, so many plants started coming.
Yes, yes.
You know,
So it's like the problem, I think, in this case is mostly the conscious intervention by the human for a particular purpose, which does not really sustain the other creatures.
Exactly.
It only harms their way of movement.
That's because,
or their way of existence.
That's because it's only human-centric.
Exactly.
The whole act is that.
Yes.
Human-centric.
Now, when we talk about food, food is always human-centric, but the same plant is also now. You remember when we had this thing like last year, we planted a lot of this taro chamber. Now chamber normally is something that wild boars don't eat so much, and they might eat 1 or 2, but then they came on a rampage. They cleared everything. Now a typical farmer would invest a lot of money in strategies of stopping the wild boar to come and stop eating the chamber. Now chamber is a cash crop.
Exactly.
Right? So we, at that point of time, it's a choice. Either you let the fellows come and eat as what they'll eat, and they'll eat until the stomach is full. Then so they won't do. They are not collecting and storing in a big storage box.
That is the thing. So basically what we did, we planted more chambers.
No, actually we didn't plant.
They grew also.
It just multiplied on its own, and now it's a situation where it's kind of overpowering a lot of the other fellows.
And now also if the wild boar comes, they'll eat 1 or 2. There is many anyways there.
One of the things we were also very obsessed is that, you know, the tool of your hand, your hand as a tool. You know, like this also came as an observation from living with our goats, chickens, and our ducks. You know, or the cows. You know, because these are the fellows who continuously happened to stay with us, or we chose to stay with them for the last few years. And one thing we've realized is like they can do a variety of work in a course of one day, with no external material or a tool to help do things. Like, for example,
it's like how their body is their tool. They don't have anything anything like a foreign object, you know, made by them or anything like that.
Anything like that, like the chicken, for example, the kind of craters they can dig just for a dust butt. You know, and the way the beak is designed, or the claws are designed, or how the goat's front teeth are so protruding in such a way that it can reach the last tip of the back to scratch.
Even our cows, remember, they turn with the horn and scratch the the
yes,
back.
the
And it's
purpose
like,
of the horn was like, you know,
yeah.
you can go to the most parts where where your head
Yeah.
can't go and
Yeah,
turn.
yeah.
The hygiene, the cleaning, the
Yeah.
taking care of the body, or accessing food,
Yeah.
or accessing the landscape. There was always this interesting thing that we observed was how your body is your tool
Yeah.
itself, you know.
Yeah.
And then you started looking at the human. Now the
exactly.
human right now cannot do absolutely any work without the aid of a tool.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that can be like, even if we have to, let's say, dig soil for planting something.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
need a spade. You need many other kind of tools.
Right, yeah,
But
yeah.
we forgot that our fingers have also been purposeful at one point of time. So it's also an
Exactly.
interesting
Yeah,
angle happening here of the human
Yeah,
society or
yeah.
the species
Right, yeah,
generally evolving over the last
Exactly. Yeah.
centuries,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it can open up another set of big questions of, you know, like genetic mutation, evolution,
Right,
societal change, political structures changing,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
way societies function. So we kind of had this notion that what if we think of work, not think, like do work, basically everything you do in your life on an average basis, using more and more of your hands.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I think, see, all these were chicken is digging by herself or himself, and then cow is scratching. All those things. It's all we know.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's
Yeah,
nothing like
yeah.
we suddenly came a knowledge or something.
Absolutely, yeah.
We knew before also.
Yeah.
You know, it's only because living with them kind of make you realize. I think
Yeah.
I like that, because that's a kind of a process
Yeah,
we are going through, and that coming into our practice.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
it's also
it's a-
that's I think quintessentially that's
yeah.
how Lakshmi Nivas also
And
functions,
also we are
you
not
know.
looking at, okay, let's don't use any tools at all. No,
Absolutely.
we are using tools.
Yes.
But then only thing, we started looking at fingers or a body, our own body parts, much more different way than how we used to. We used the
Yeah.
same thing before also.
It's a
because
perception, yeah.
either if I'm drawing or a painting or sculpting or whatever it is, or you are writing anything, you know, we do same thing now.
Yeah.
You know, with the method of doing or using mediums, it's changed.
Yes. Yes. We've always been discussing how the human language
Yeah, yeah.
is a very artificial
Yeah,
medium.
Yeah, yeah.
No, don't you think
Yeah.
so? Like, you know,
Yeah, because the thing is, you know, we can't talk to another animals, or we can't understand other animals.
Even
language.
within humans.
Yeah, even with a different.
human. Now, if I meet a Mongolian,
Yeah.
that Mongolian can't understand my language, and I
Right.
cannot understand Mongolian. So,
Exactly.
but then even though we both are humans,
Yeah.
but a Mongolian bird can migrate all the way to the Indian Ocean,
Yeah.
and can spend so much time here.
Exactly. So I think that
No,
communication, which even when we look at our chickens, we are making a narration,
Yes.
looking at their movement,
Yes.
and we are building a story.
Yes.
It's not necessarily true, no?
Yes, and
It's
it's
an
a
imaginary
very
story we are making. It's a clan, and it have a head of the clan. All these things we built
Yes.
for ourselves to kind of I don't know, legitimize that we understand their.
Yes, and also our reference point is our structures.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
we know we have these structures.
Yeah.
We work on hierarchical forms of clans, class,
Yeah,
caste.
yeah.
So somehow that baggage of knowledge is kind of serenading towards how we are even looking at chickens.
Yeah.
Maybe it is completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe how could the goat and the chicken
Yeah, they can
communicate
Yeah.
that without that, when the chicken is on fever,
Yeah.
and it's just sitting on the goat,
Yeah.
the goat understands that it should not move its
Yeah,
body too much. That's
yeah.
why, you
And
know,
she was just standing so carefully. And she's eating also.
absolutely.
You know, it's a.
So what did they speak
Yeah.
that they could convince each other of a particular way of just existence?
Exactly.
When we have to live with animals, we need the political problem of domestication,
Yeah, yeah.
the political structure of domestication,
Yeah, yeah.
and the history of that,
Yeah.
the problematic history of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
we need a metal fence.
Exactly.
We need
a structure.
A structure. We need a kuda, a house, a shed.
Yeah.
You know, we need torita. You know,
Exactly.
we need this structure that we have to go cut grass for them,
Yeah.
so that they stay with us.
Yeah.
And
the kind of grass, it's our choice what grass we cut
Yes,
for them.
yes.
It's not their choice.
Exactly.
While grazing, it's entirely different.
Exactly.
That's another problem.
Yeah.
Where domestication, we feel always like
Yeah.
constant rain happens,
Yeah.
and then we need to forage food for them,
Yeah.
and that affect them because they fall sick.
Yes.
Because it's our choice what we are.
Maybe on a rainy day they might not even eat those stuff.
Exactly.
They might be just eating dry stuff,
Yeah.
which we don't know. We're just assuming.
Right. Yeah.
But then we also live in a landscape where there is a choice or there's an option of just living.
Yeah.
Just no choice or there's
Right.
no option because those landscape is gone forever.
Exactly.
We don't have
Yeah.
those landscapes. It's now completely different. So
Yeah.
how do we talk? You know,
Yeah.
when we talk.
Yeah.
You know, how do we ever understand a language? Do we even understand the language? Do we even know a language, to be precise?
Right. Yeah.
You know, so even for us to talk
Yeah.
as true humans,
Yeah. Exactly.
you know, we needed a different language to talk to each other.
That's the
No?
I mean,
But
that's
then-
what we always talk about, where human language is artificial. It's not a natural one.
Yes.
We don't have a natural language.
Yeah.
So that much lonely we are.
Yes.